With a population of 7.9 billion people, the world is becoming more diverse by leaps and bounds. In fact, it's estimated that one third, 34%, will be foreign born within 30 years. This means there are infinite number of opportunities for collaboration and networking between cultures which can only enrich our lives as individuals. Hello, my name is Alex.
And I'm Angie. We are graduate students at San Jose State University, and we are currently working on a class project for Organization Communication 244 for Professor Dr. Luis Felipe Gomez.
Today, we are going to be telling you about social identity theory, which is a really important concept in organizational life that often gets overlooked. This theory states that people have an in group for whom we feel affinity and an out group whom we see as different from our own group. In this video, we will talk about implication of these two groups and job satisfaction and the workplace climate more broadly. Furthermore, through this video, we will be discussing 3 articles. Article number 1, Identity and Technology, Organizational Control of Knowledge-Intensive Work by Nguyen Gian. Article number 2, Communication and Social Identity, Existing and Potential Connection in Organizational Identification Research by Craig Scott. Article number 3 is Working to Reduce the Effects of Discrimination by Shi et al.
So, what is social identity theory, you may wonder? Well, social identity theory, also known as SIT, is a social psychological theory that explains how individuals develop a sense of self and belongingness within groups. According to SIT, individuals are motivated to affiliate with groups in order to enhance their self-esteem and feelings of self-worth. The theory has been applied extensively in the field of organizational behavior and management, where it has been used to understand phenomena such as groupthink, collective efficacy, and organizational identification. Despite its wide application, SIT remains controversial among scholars, with some arguing that it offers a limited understanding of human behavior. Nevertheless, the theory continues to be influential in the field of organizational studies and it has spawned a number of research. The theory has been used to explain a wide range of phenomena in organizations, including employee turnover, creativity, and team dynamics.
I will now give you an example of social identity theory as a military officer who arrives at a military unit. Social identity theory can be seen at play when the officer meets the other soldiers in the unit. The officer will try to affiliate with the group by finding commonalities with them, which will help the officer to develop a sense of self and belongingness within the unit. This in turn will increase the officer's self-esteem and feelings of self-worth.
Another example of social identity theory is applied at the beginning of each semester in my public speaking course. I have students do an icebreaker activity where they find similarities amongst each other. They essentially ask questions from their classmates on different topics such as what their major is or what their hobbies are, among other questions. The purpose of this activity is to help students get to know each other through their similarities so they can start to develop a sense of belongingness in the group, or in this case, in the class. This usually helps with students' future participation in the classroom as the semester progresses, since their self-esteem and worth has increased through the affiliation of the class. The key takeaways that we want you to remember about the definition of SIT are: first, social identity theory is how people develop a sense of self and belongingness within groups. Second, individuals are motivated to affiliate with groups in order to enhance their self-esteem and feelings of self-worth. Finally, the theory has been applied extensively in the field of organizational behavior and management and has spawned numerous research.
Now that we have given you a basic understanding of social identity theory, let's talk about how it applies to the workplace. We will be discussing 3 articles that explore this topic in more depth. First, we'll look at identity and technology, organizational control of knowledge-intensive work. This article examines how SIT can be used to understand the control of knowledge-intensive work within organizations. The author found that there are three main ways that organizations control knowledge-intensive work. And that is by controlling the content of what is known, by controlling how it is known, and by controlling who knows it. Organizations control the content of what is known by setting rules and norms about what types of information can be shared and how it can be shared. Organizations can also create incentives for employees to share certain types of information and disincentives for sharing others. For example, an organization might give bonuses to employees who share knowledge that leads to new products or services, but penalize those who share trade secrets with competitors. Organizations control how knowledge is acquired and used through training programs, job descriptions, and other methods. They can also set up information sharing systems that make easier or harder for employees to access and use knowledge. For example, an organization might require all employees to use a central database for storing and sharing information. Or it might allow employees to freely share information through social media platforms like Facebook or Twitter. Finally, organizations can control who has access to knowledge by hiring and firing employees, promoting and demoting them, and giving them different levels of access to information. For example, an organization might give senior executives access to all information while restricting junior employees to only the information they need to do their jobs. Social identity theory can help us understand how organizations control knowledge-intensive work because it explains how people form identities within groups, according to social identity theory. We can now look at communication social identity theory, existing and potential connections in organizational identification research by Craig Scott. This article discusses a connection between SIT and organizational identification, or the process by which individuals develop a sense of identification within an organization. According to the author, there are three main ways in which SIT can inform research on organizational identification. 1. Social identity theory can help to explain how individuals come to identify with an organization in the first place. 2. Social identity theory can help to explain why individuals may vary in their level of identification with an organization. And 3. Social identity theory can help to explain how individuals' organizational identities may change over time. The author argues that while there is already some evidence to support these claims, there is still much work to be done in order to fully understand the relationship between social identity theory and organizational identification. In particular, future research should be focused on exploring the mechanisms by which social identity process leads to organizational identification. We can now look at the final article, Working to Reduce the Effects of Discrimination, by Shi et al. This article examines how SIT can be used to reduce the effects of discrimination in the workplace. It discusses how organizations can develop policies and practices to foster inclusion and reduce the likelihood of discrimination. The article also describes how individuals can use SIT to increase their own awareness of discrimination and to work towards its reduction. This article complements the other two articles by strengthening their arguments and providing additional insight. For example, Shi focuses on how SIT can be used to understand and control the work environment, compared to Scott, who discusses the personal connections that SIT creates within the workplace. These three articles represent social identity theory very well.
So, what are some key takeaways we want you to remember about this video? First, social identity theory can be used to understand a wide range of phenomena in the workplace, including employee turnover, creativity, and team dynamics. Second, individuals are motivated to affiliate with groups in order to enhance their self-esteem and feelings of self-worth. Finally, the theory has been used to reduce the effects of discrimination in the workplace.
Do you have any questions so far? Let us know in the comments. If not, let's end this video with a discussion question. How would you apply social identity theory to reduce discrimination in your workplace? Let us know in the comments. Thank you.